At the beginning, a girl stopped a truck with her bare hands and saved a boy. He was shocked and thought that she had stopped the truck using nothing but her strength. She asked if he was hurt, and he replied that he was fine and nothing hurt, thanking her. She smiled and said she was glad, but told him to forget what he had just seen. He was startled and questioned her. Then, with an overwhelming aura, she turned to the driver and instructed him to forget as well, and the driver obediently agreed. The boy tried to stop her, thinking it was impossible. The scene then shifted to Dean and Toshi University-affiliated high school, where the boy, Fudou Ryou, was sitting in his classroom. He thought about the girl who had saved him earlier, Tsukimino-san. He described her as a stunning beauty with fluffy hair and large ribbons. He reflected that he had never spoken to her, and all he knew was that she seemed like a refined young lady from overseas. Still, he was curious. At that moment, his friends approached him from behind, casually discussing what to have for lunch. Suddenly, he turned to them with a serious expression and called out to them. They were startled and asked what he wanted, commenting that his eyes looked scary and telling him not to sneak up on them like that. He apologized and then asked if they knew what kind of person Tsukimino-san was. One of them replied that they kind of knew her, but hesitated. He pressed further, asking about any strange rumors. His intense expression made them panic, and they told him to stop making that face. One of them then explained that she was very beautiful and extremely popular with boys both inside and outside the class. Naturally, many had tried to approach her or confess their feelings. He questioned what they meant by "there definitely were." The friend explained that the boys who had spoken to her all started acting strangely afterward. When asked how things went, every single one of them gave the same response, that they didn't know anyone named Tsukimino. At first, it seemed like they were pretending out of embarrassment after being rejected, but since it was every single one of them, it felt unsettling. They asked if he was even listening, but he was already distracted, secretly watching her. He wondered if she could possibly be something unusual. After class ended, she left the room, and he quickly followed. He noticed how fast she was as he trailed behind her, eventually reaching the rooftop. Suddenly, she appeared beside him and remarked that she was surprised, saying she hadn't expected even him to do something like this. Confused, he questioned what she meant. She then revealed a letter in her hand and said she hadn't expected him to give her such a passionate love letter. He was shocked and immediately denied it, insisting it wasn't from him. However, she continued, asking if it would be all right if it were her. She then asked if he truly wouldn't regret falling for her. At that moment, feathers began to fall from above. As she spoke, she revealed her true nature, asking if he would still love her even if she were a demon. Wings spread out behind her, and horns emerged from her head. Seeing this, he screamed in shock. She was a demon. Then, suddenly, someone screamed from behind. It was the same two boys from earlier. One of them exclaimed in shock that Tsukimino-san was a monster. Hearing this, she became angry and called out to them, telling the rude boy to forget everything he had just seen and to go straight home. Instantly, he appeared to fall under her influence, obediently agreeing before running away. Seeing this, Fudou was confused and wondered what had just happened. She calmly explained that it was her magic, and that the person had likely just been passing by. She added that even people who once claimed to like her would become overwhelmed with fear upon seeing her true form, calling her a monster. She assumed he must have been scared as well, so she had made them forget what he had witnessed. She told him to be careful on his way home and to watch out for cars, adding that his injuries might worsen. She remarked that he would not remember any of what she had said, and that he would understand tomorrow. With that, she flew away. However, in the next moment, he suddenly jumped and grabbed onto her, calling out for her to wait. She was startled and warned him that what he was doing was dangerous. Holding onto her leg, he told her that he did not find her scary at all. Instead, he thought her horns and wings looked cool. She repeated his words in disbelief. He continued, saying that he also wanted to properly thank her for saving him that morning. She reacted, saying it tickled where he was holding her, and questioned why he still remembered what had happened earlier. She remarked that he was quite bold for someone with such a face, and noted that he refused to let go. She warned him that he could have died if he had fallen from that height. Then, confused, she questioned why her magic was not working on him, stating that such a thing had never happened before. She repeatedly told him to forget and insisted that he should find her scary. He calmly pointed out that he had never said that. She then cast her spell again, demanding that he call her cute and not fall for her, only to become afraid later, adding that calling a girl a monster was rude. He reflected that her words had turned into something like venting, which likely meant that many people had been afraid of her before. At the same time, he noticed that whatever power she was releasing was scattering in all directions and wondered if she would be all right. Then, hesitantly, she told him to become her pet, but once again, the spell failed to affect him. Surprised, she questioned why her magic did not work on him and demanded to know who he really was. He simply replied that he was an ordinary human, though people often said his eyes and smile made him look scary, like a demon. She was shocked, thinking that her magic, said to be the strongest in the demon world, had no effect on him, a human. At that moment, he handed her a rice ball. She asked what it was, and he explained that it was food, noting that she had not eaten lunch earlier. He told her that was not good, and that she needed to eat properly. He added that it was just his leftover, but she could have it if she wanted, and that he would make extra the next day if she asked. She began eating. He then said that, now that he had returned the favor from earlier, he would be heading home. Before leaving, he added that she was cute. Hearing this, she blushed deeply as he ran off, saying he would see her tomorrow. Left alone, she reflected that she had only heard rumors that he was scary, but he was nothing like that. She then looked at the love letter and, while blushing, thought that it was not bad. Suddenly, she felt pain behind her back. The scene then shifted to his house, where she appeared at the entrance and greeted him in the evening. He asked if she needed something else. She then declared that, starting from that day, she would be in his care as his pet. Confused, he said he did not understand at all. She explained that since he had deflected her magic, she was now wearing a leash around her neck and could not return home, so she asked him to take care of her. The scene shifts, and the collar of obedience is introduced. It is explained as a collar placed on a demon when they truly submit to their opponent. Once worn, it cannot be removed and serves as proof that the demon has become an absolutely obedient familiar. The narration continues, presenting the story of a demon who lost to a human and became a familiar. The demon reflects that, honestly, it is not a bad life. He is provided with meals and basic comforts. However, when he met his wife and son after a long time, they saw the collar. His wife told him she did not know anyone like him and asked him to leave. None of his former companions would even meet his eyes. As a result, he realizes that there is no home left for him to return to. For a demon, the collar is a mark of living shame. The scene then shifts to Tsukimino, who states that this is the situation. Fudou questions the video she showed him, asking what it was. She explains that it comes from a channel that reveals the dark side of the demon realm. Fudou admits he has never heard of it and wonders whether demons have truly adapted to human society to that extent. He then questions why he is considered the owner, pointing out that it was her magic that caused the situation. Tsukimino asks him to take a closer look at the collar. When she shows it, Fudou notices that his name is written on it. She suggests that perhaps the spell hit him and bounced back, causing the master-servant relationship to reverse. Fudou then asks why she told him to become her pet in the first place. She responds that it was simply said in the heat of the moment. As he reflects on her answer, she internally admits that she had always thought his hair looked like a cute little hedgehog, but believed he would get angry if she said it aloud. She then explains her situation more seriously, stating that she cannot return home and is in a difficult position. She hesitantly asks if she might be allowed to stay with him. Fudou suddenly raises his voice, calling out her name and slamming his hand on the table, only to immediately apologize. Surprised, she asks if that means he is refusing her request. He quickly clarifies that he did not mean it that way. Instead, he apologizes sincerely, saying he had no idea he had caused her so much trouble. He promises to help her in any way he can until the collar is removed and assures her that he will provide her with a proper place to stay. She agrees, and he explains that he recently finished tidying up the third floor with the intention of renting it out so she can use that room. He adds that he will explain the situation to his brother, so she need not worry. However, since the gas is not connected yet, he tells her to use their bath instead. She becomes flustered, remarking that it feels less like renting a room and more like being given an entire house. The scene shifts again, showing her in the bath. She reflects that she accepted his offer but wonders about the water, noting its pleasant scent and mysterious quality. A box of lavender soap is shown. In another scene shift, she continues thinking. She reflects that, despite dragging him into the situation, he did not get angry and instead apologized to her. She finds him to be a strange person who is not afraid of her at all. She then questions why her magic does not work on him and decides to use this opportunity to investigate further, realizing there is still much she does not know. At the same time, she wonders whether it is dangerous to let her guard down too much. At that moment, Fudou calls out to her from outside, informing her that he has made dinner and asking if she would like to eat together. She immediately comes out of the bath and eagerly says that she wants to eat. He tells her to put some clothes on, and she apologizes, explaining that she has nothing to wear except her uniform, and asks him to lend her something. He responds that she should have said that before coming out. The scene shifts, showing Tsukimino enjoying her meal. She remarks that it is extremely delicious, and asks what it is, noting that although it is a little spicy, it is addictive as she continues eating. Fudou asks if it is her first time having curry rice. She repeats the name, saying she will remember it, while continuing to eat enthusiastically. Fudou then reflects that curry does not exist in the demon world and thinks to himself that he is glad he was born Japanese. As he reaches for a glass of water, Tsukimino notices the bandages on his hand. She comments that the onigiri from earlier was also good, but this meal feels like a real feast. She then questions whether humans always get to eat such great food. Fudou responds that it is not always the case. Watching her enjoy the meal, he begins to wonder if his curry is truly that delicious. He recalls that his mother, who usually eats his cooking, always praises it. Now that someone he has just met is saying the same, he realizes something and quietly concludes that it makes him very happy. Tsukimino, noticing his expression, is momentarily startled. She wonders if he is angry, but then realizes he is actually smiling and questions what he finds so amusing. She reflects that he simply started eating the curry he made and that she does not understand why he is being so kind to her, thinking of him as someone with strange tastes and an odd personality. Suddenly, she remembers something important and addresses him directly, stating that he must have loved her all along. She begins to laugh. Fudou looks at her in shock as she continues, saying that now she understands why he cooked for her and cleaned the room. Glancing at him, she teasingly asks if he liked it that much, firmly believing he is referring to her. Fudou, confused, assumes she is talking about the curry and responds that he loves it, thinking only of the food. Her reaction is immediate. She is shocked and begins to blush. He adds that it is his absolute favorite, still referring to the curry. This causes her to blush even more intensely, and she hides her face. Softly, she murmurs that she understands now. With that, she finishes eating the curry. The scene shifts again, showing Fudou leaving the room, remarking that he will have to make curry again. Meanwhile, Tsukimino is left behind, blushing intensely as she tries to hide her face. She reflects that she never expected being told "I love you" could make her feel this happy, her heart pounding rapidly. At the same time, she admits to herself that while it is not bad, being on the receiving end feels somewhat frustrating for a demon. Her attention then shifts to a box of bandages. Realizing the situation, she states that she knew he was injured and recalls sensing the smell of blood earlier. As she takes out the bandages, she pauses, then comes up with an idea. Calling out to him, she says that since she has already caused him so much trouble today, she will grant him one wish as a form of thanks, anything he wants. Fudou reacts with surprise, asking if he can truly wish for anything. She confirms that he can, reminding him that she is his pet now. He begins to blush at the implication, thinking about the offer, but ultimately refuses. He says that he has also been a burden to her and cannot bring himself to ask for anything. She questions his response, noting that she was prepared to do anything for him. She begins to suggest an example, hinting at showing herself off. Fudou immediately panics, blushing deeply as he raises his voice, insisting that such a thing is not appropriate. She responds calmly, pointing out that it is a bit late to act innocent, especially after earlier when she came out of the bath. She remarks that even though he tried to hide his gaze behind his fingers, she could still tell the kind of look in his eyes. Fudou protests that it is still not right. She lightly acknowledges his response, but then declares that she will show herself anyway. He quickly tries to cover his face, but cannot resist peeking slightly. She comments teasingly that it is a shame he is so stubborn. Overwhelmed, he blushes intensely and ends up rolling on the ground. She looks at him, confused, and asks what is wrong. Internally, she concludes that he might simply be an idiot and questions why he is getting so worked up. The narration then notes that, for the first time, Fudou caught a glimpse of a demon's true nature. At the same time, he quietly regrets, even if only slightly, having lent her his room.